From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome in. It is #Reaction Monday / Complaining Monday. Did we ever officially rename Monday? If not, we are now.
/ Tearful Monday.
It's a tough. Today is going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough one. Tough show. But we'll get through it. We get a chance to talk about everything that happened over the weekend in the world of sports, and we are happy that we get to do that. No matter what may be on tap. Mo Patton, JP Plant. I'm Chris Yao. Hope you guys out there are having a great day. Thanks for joining us on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. And of course, WZYXradio.net and WKM 1017 FM. This is the Lee Company studio. Mo, how are you? How's things going?
I'm all right, but there's something missing from our top stories. You see this trade that the Rams are involved in?
Well, we should call Matt Rogers.
We should. We should call Matt Rogers. I'm a little upset that Matt didn't let us know this was coming down.
Beforehand.
Actually, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. We've got a lot to get to in this first segment because, well, there's a lot going on, and I mean Mondays are always jam-packed shows, right? But you know, I would ask JP how he's doing, but he doesn't even have his microphone in front of his face.
Doesn't have his microphone on. Doesn't have his light on. He's just.
I'll tell you, it is what it is.
Sometimes you got to be a little shady.
JP, how are you?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I'm doing okay. It was a roller coaster of a day, sports wise. Yesterday, a little.
Yeah, no doubt.
It was a big roller coaster. Saturday was a little crazy. Little Hail Mary action in Nashville at the end of the first half, and
broke your guys, huh? Broke them.
Haven't heard my father cuss that loud in a long time. No, I'm kidding. he prophesized that coming, but
of course he did.
Yeah, just when you think, when you think they're, maybe peeking around a corner.
No.
Just when you see the light at the end of the tunnel, it turns out to be a train, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. No good. So we'll get to some of that Vanderbilt later this show because man, that's tough. But before we do any of our top stories, and we have plenty of them, let's give you the weekend results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Let's do it.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy, providing a Christ-centered college prep education at an affordable cost. Call 931-388-5731 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule an appointment for a tour today.
In Friday football action, Summit completed a 10-0 regular season with a 42-7 win at Franklin. It was Ravenwood defeating Independence 20-10. Columbia Central blanked Spring Hill 34-0 in the Backyard Bowl. It was Nolensville surprising Franklin County 35-14, and Creekwood shut out Lawrence County 14-0.
Forest ended Mount Pleasant's season with a 25-7 win. Loretto finds its way to the playoffs with a 23-13 win over Richland. Columbia Academy downed Grace Christian 39-35. Moore County a 34-10 winner over Huntland, and Summertown 21, Cascade 17.
In Major League Baseball action over the weekend, Game 3 of the World Series, the Braves take a 2-1 lead with a 2-0 win over the Houston Astros. In Game 4, it was Braves 3, Astros 2 on the strength of Dansby Swanson and Jorge Soler back-to-back solo home runs, giving the Braves a 3-1 lead in the series. Sunday, with a chance to close it out, it was the Braves 5, the Astros 9.
Boo.
Yeah. Despite a grand slam home run by Adam Duvall.
Too early.
How you gonna
Too early.
Too early?
Too
I'm
early.
sorry. Oh, the home run or me?
The home run.
Oh, okay.
In today's schedule, we have Freed Hardeman's junior varsity travels down here to Columbia State, and they take on the Lady Chargers at 5:30 over at the Webb. In bowling action, Columbia Central is hosting Lawrence County at 10 Pin Alley, and that is currently going on as we speak.
Right now.
And that's going to do it for your Monday Rundown. Big news in high school hoops today, Mo, and as they start preseason practice, I guess he wanted to get this out of the way so maybe it wouldn't be a distraction for his team throughout the year. 5-star guard from Cane Ridge, Brandon Miller, made his decision today, and he will be wearing crimson beginning next year. He commits to Alabama, giving the Crimson Tide a pair of 5 stars in next year's class. That's pretty incredible.
It's incredible that there is a program in the Southeastern Conference that has 2 5-stars, and it's somebody other than Kentucky.
Right. And it just goes to prove that, you know, Alabama is reaping the benefits of their long-standing success in college football. I mean, not to take anything away from Nate and his staff. Nate Oates is a fantastic recruiter. We saw that at Buffalo. We saw it everywhere he's been. But you don't have the ability to go get a guy like Nate Oates if you don't have the success that you've had in the football program. So well done to that athletic department for being able to do that, and well done to Nate Oates.
Well done to that athletic department for identifying Nate Oates and for having the foresight to feel like what he has done in Buffalo and other places would translate. Because you hear a lot about fit.
Yep.
And, you know, I would not have been surprised if somebody had looked at Nate Oates and said, you know, he doesn't have any kind of ties to the SEC or to the Southeastern United States or anything like that. How's this going to work? Yeah, well, it seems to be working pretty well.
and it certainly has. So, yeah, Brandon Miller, Cane Ridge guard. The Raven will put on his swim trunks and be part of the Crimson Tide next year. Other, I guess, local news is Columbia State's women. You were over at a pretty significant ceremony today, Mo.
Yeah, they had a signing day ceremony. This was the first day that I'm not sure what sports, but certainly women's soccer could sign scholarships at the national junior college level. And so
okay, so these are kids that they've signed for their program.
Yeah, these are kids
who are going to live in their program.
No, I don't think that signing period begins until Wednesday, I think, the early period. But yeah, this is kids that will be coming to Columbia State. There were 9 of them, and Keen Barclay said he's not done.
I like to hear that.
But it's
unless you're Sunbelt's commissioner, who also said the same thing last week we were talking about.
Right.
So anyway.
Keith Gill. Yeah, we ain't done. Yeah. No, but so Keen Barclay has to move a field player into goal this year. That won't happen next year because of the 9 kids that he signed today, 3 of them are goalkeepers.
To make sure that doesn't happen again.
We ain't doing this again. Yeah. Also signed Mo Malikian from Columbia Central. So, and a young lady, Kaylee Mellenbach, who had to leave immediately after the ceremony to catch a plane back to Washington State, where she's from, Central Kitsap High School. So,
wow, that's pretty cool.
Pretty far-reaching.
Hey, nationwide recruiting base here.
There you go. There's nobody we can't get.
Come on.
To Muletown, to the dimple.
To the dimple.
As Chip Walters would say. So, yeah.
That's right.
We will have more on that on the website at mainstreetmurray.com sometime tonight or in the morning. So look for that.
Keep out a look. Who saw Trevor Siemian being the guy to beat Tom Brady? Raise your hand if you were that guy, because it wasn't me. No hands raised.
None.
Seeing none.
None.
I moved that.
Yeah, the nomination ceased. Yeah.
That's insane. Jameis Winston tears his ACL. That's going to be some really detrimental news to the Saints and the Saints.
I think the Saints would trade the win for a healthy Jameis Winston.
No question. So unfortunate situation there, because Jameis was certainly coming into his own as a Saint in that Sean Payton offense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I mentioned earlier, basketball preseason practices officially begins today. Also, wrestling. There is a story about Region 6A. So check that out on MainStreetMurray.com as well. What do you say we got some game balls, Mo?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we don't have the. We got to get one of those. All right. So we had a really tough time trying to narrow down the game balls, because so many fantastic players this week had important performances in week 11. But we have to start with the freshman. Last week's MTBJ Player of the Week, Monte Baldwin, who seemingly...
Hang on a minute. So last week, in the win at Clarksville Academy, the 62-60 win for Columbia Academy at Clarksville Academy, Monte Baldwin, 19 carries, I believe it was, 197 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay, now go ahead.
And then he said, hold my Gatorade bottle, because
we ain't done yet.
We need a win to host a playoff game next week. So what do I got to do?
Yeah, because I'm not trying to go to Knoxville next Friday night.
That's right. So every time I call JP on TriStar Friday Night Live, it seemed like I told him one time, I said, I promise you this is not the same voicemail over and over. Monte Baldwin has scored again. And I think he just scored again right before I got here. I saw him running into the end zone. 26 carries, 302 yards, 5 touchdowns, Mo. Puts him over 1,000 for the year. That's 500 yards, basically 499 in 2 games.
Yeah, it doesn't put him over 1,000.
It did not?
No.
He thought it did.
No, puts him at 946.
That's close enough.
Yeah, it's close.
That's impressive.
It's very impressive. That's 499 yards in 2 games. I mean, Derrick Henry ain't done that and won't, I don't guess. But
yeah,
that's another story. Yeah. 499 yards, 9 touchdowns in 2 games.
All right.
Also getting in game balls, Summit's Keaton Wade blocked a punt and recovered it for a touchdown. Took a ball from a kid. I mean, we can't even call it a fumble. He just took it and went the other way and then lateraled it for another touchdown in Summit's 42-7 win at Franklin.
That was pretty cool. I mean, he's running down the field. He's holding the ball back. You kind of think he might be taunting a little, but instead he's actually trying to toss it to his teammate. So that was
Aiden Bird. Yeah.
Really cool.
Summertown quarterback Colton Schaefer threw for a touchdown and ran for one in the Eagles' 21-17 win over Cascade. Loretta's Case Tucker, 126 rushing yards and a touchdown in their win over Richland.
When we come back, we're going to continue reacting to high school football. I had the segments flipped. I apologize. We'll continue talking high school football right after this on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Local sports talk you'll only find here. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls, and we are talking high school football as we had a big weekend in Week 11. Playoff scenarios all played out. No matter what we talked about on these here airwaves, all the scenarios played themselves out, and we had nothing to do with it. But sure was fun to talk about. Always nice to get a little math in.
I'll give you guys credit. And you may think it doesn't happen very often, but I am going to give you guys credit. All the prep that went into our Friday Night Live pregame show that you guys did, and the scenarios
Really helped you sound awfully smart on your games.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. What little smartness came out of me certainly was due to the research and being in the proximity of the two of you. But being the journalist that you guys are, you dove in to find the actual facts about what the truth is of these scenarios, and they played out.
And you were able to straighten some folks
and
out.
you guys did a fantastic job, and you should be commended for that.
Well, thank you.
We were able to straighten ourselves out because we certainly did not understand. Now we do.
And it may change next year, but
it might.
But it was there were a lot of if-thens,
Yeah.
which is right up Captain
right.
Chaos's alley. But Friday night was a fun night, just kind of following all of that, and you guys were certainly at the forefront of it.
So, one game locally that had no bearing whatsoever on playoffs was the Backyard Bowl. And you were at said Backyard Bowl between Columbia Central and Spring Hill. 34-0 Columbia Central.
Had no direct bearing, but, at halftime with Columbia Central leading 14-0, as mentioned in the article that we have up on the website at mainstreetmurray.com, John Moore went in and he asked his kids, are y'all satisfied with your first half performance? And they said no. And he told them what they needed to do to get cleaned up, and they went out and cleaned it up and scored on, their first two possessions in the second half, went on and won it 34-0. And they needed that to get ready for this first round game that they have against visiting Mount Juliet on Friday night. A Mount Juliet team that was ranked number one in the state in 5A at one point this year, coming down from 6A. Got out to 6-0, and they've lost their last four. But this is a traditionally tough team at the highest level of Division I play in the state of Tennessee, and Columbia Central is going to have a challenge, and they needed to be challenged because they didn't bring that sharpness from the get against Spring Hill, and understandably so. They've been off a week.
You're off a week, yeah.
They've been off a week, and they weren't playing for anything. Second place was locked up, as we talked about last week. They're playing Spring Hill, who's clearly not had a whole lot of success this year. And it was easy to come into that game at less than your A-game level. And, fortunately, John Moore and that coaching staff didn't allow that to take place for 48 minutes.
Yes, and Spring Hill, on top of everything else, was trying to figure out a quarterback, and just it had an offensive tackle, I think, that you said missed some time or had surgery.
Right.
As well.
Blaze Martin and their starting left tackle, Evan, and his last name escapes me, and I apologize.
That's not the guy you want. Those aren't the two guys you want
to be without.
No.
Yeah, they ran a lot of Wildcat with Mac Ritchie and Caden Martin, but it was just tough for them to really get any offensive consistency going, and a lot of that's attributable to Columbia Central's defense as well.
Sure.
And even though they were playing without Antoine Moore, they've got some guys over there, man. This Central Mount Juliet game is going to be a good ball game.
I think it's going to be very similar to what you saw up at Green Hill, and I think Columbia Central learned some stuff in that game.
I think Mount Juliet may be a little bit more athletic.
Sure,
than
but
Green
I'm talking
Hill.
about up front. Up front, you're going to see two big teams duking it out. But yes, I would agree with you that Mount Juliet's a little bit better, and I'm excited to talk about that game later this week for sure. It's going to be these playoff games are going to be a lot of fun, and opening our coverage area, quote unquote, to some of these others is going to be fun too. But yeah, so congrats to Columbia Central, who took home the Backyard Bowl and the Sparkman Daily Wade Trophy, and that will be presented here soon to their program. excited about doing that. Guess we can credit Clayton Harris with a little statistical information. Columbia Central scored 29 points a game this year, which is up from 18 last year. So you score almost 30 points a game, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. So.
Well, I mean, if you score nearly 2 more touchdowns a game, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. And especially with that defense, again, I think their defense has kind of been under-recognized over the course of the season.
Probably has. A team that did not struggle to get out to a fast start was Columbia Academy, mainly because Monte Baldwin took the first play from scrimmage 61 yards for a touchdown, and 2 drives later he broke one for 98.
That's one way to get off the goal line.
Well, they struck. So in the second drive, they were held inside the 10, and they had to punt it away. And got up 27-7, Mo. They were up 27-7 with 1:41 before the half. Grace Christian was able to throw the ball a little bit better, and I wish I could remember that kid's name right now, the wide receiver, but who apparently the Grace Christian wide receiver that caught the touchdown pass, and I'll get to his name here in just a minute. I guess I won't get to his name in just a minute. Is from here, from Columbia. Maddox Lambert. Yeah. His mom went to Columbia Academy.
Oh.
Yeah. And he is from Columbia.
Oh.
And so he had a big crowd on hand.
Oh.
For his one-handed touchdown catch that cut it to 27-14. Then great job by that. They ended up scoring there, scored again before the half after a quick 3-and-out, made it 27-21 going to halftime, and then scored again to go up 28-27. So impressive job by Columbia Academy to not get rattled. And then, of course, a couple more Monte Baldwin long runs for touchdowns didn't hurt, 44 and 37. So, yeah. Columbia Academy earned a home playoff game as they will – I'm not sure who they host next week off the top of my head. Trinity Christian. And it's pretty impressive for a team that started out, 0-5 and won their last 3. So –
they didn't win their last 3 straight. They won 3 of their last 4.
3 of the last 4, that's right.
Because there was a loss to Nashville Christian mixed in there, I believe. So,
man, that game was fun.
7-3.
7-3, the final score for Donaldson Christian over Nashville Christian. Man, that is football right there.
Yeah, CA won 3 of their last 4. They won 27-21 at Mount Juliet Christian, lost to Nashville Christian, won that basketball game up at Clarksville Academy, and then defeated Grace Christian Friday night. So going in with some momentum against a Trinity Christian team that started 0-4, has won 3 of their last 5, but the 2 losses were to USJ 59-7 and to Jackson Christian 36-7. So kind of been a feast or famine type deal for the Lions of Trinity Christian, and this should be an interesting ball game as well.
Didn't this used to be wasn't this a region game the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
well, Division 2A was split east and west,
right?
And this year they
did 3.
They included a middle region, so yeah.
Well, they're 1-1. They won 31-14 2 years ago and lost 22-21 last year. So this will be a good game.
Should be a good game.
Let's just lump everything into this one because Region 5 2A, as we've talked about all year long, had some just crazy ups and downs. Loretto comes into a game against Richland, winless in the region, and yet they come out with a win, 23-13, and by virtue of tiebreakers, earn the number 4 seed in the TSSAA playoffs. That's
great,
something.
a great win for Barry Daniel in that program. I think, despite their leading rusher Caden Porter continuing to be hampered, I presume, by an ankle injury that he sustained in the Pegasus Cup game against Summertown back in late September. Still figured out a way to beat what we had thought had been a pretty hot Richland team, although they struggled in their last outing as well. Richland did. Was that against East Hickman that they lost?
Yes.
So you had two teams kind of battling for their postseason life. I mean, if Richland wins that game, then they are the number 4
seed outright.
But because Loretto won, forced a 3-way tie for the number 4 seed with Richland and with Mount Pleasant. And through a series of tiebreakers, Loretto emerged as the number 4 seed. And their reward is a trip to Decaturville to take on Decatur County Riverside.
Yeah.
9-1 Riverside, which just dismantled Lewis County 42-13.
Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so, hey. But they're in the playoffs.
That's all that matters.
And,
it's 0-0 now. You have no record.
And at least 2 teams would love to swap places with them.
There's no doubt. One of those being Mount Pleasant, who lost 25-7. It felt like, if they had their full complement, you wish that you could have seen this team completely healthy at some point.
At any point.
At any point.
They've scored 35 points in their last 5 games. Two of those touchdowns were on kickoff returns. So, had some offensive woes this year.
Yeah, and obviously, Kevin Cooper's 85-yard return was the only score in that one. Forest's defense really good, so they are
definitely heads and
region
shoulders
champion.
above everybody else in that region. Everybody else you can kind of throw in a bag on any given night, I think. I mean, again, you look back at
even Cascade, yeah, and Summertown.
Well, I mean, you look back, Mount Pleasant, again, I keep going back to it, but Mount Pleasant loses to Cascade 16-14 on a safety. Cascade is playing for a home game Friday night before they lost to Summertown 21-17.
That was an interesting sequence there at the end of the game, JP. They made Summertown run an untimed down because of offsetting penalties, which
made Summertown running off
an untimed down with
when
the
they
ball.
were winning the game.
Yes, forced them to kneel.
There was a holding call on Summertown, who had the ball, and then there was a dead ball, according to what the official said, or what they signaled, a dead ball personal foul on Cascade. So they somehow that became offsetting. I would have thought that a dead ball would have.
I would have thought you would have had marked both of those off if
Yeah.
one was live and one was dead. But
then they forced them to run.
who am I?
Another
What
play.
do I know?
Untimed down, and that was on 4th down too.
Yeah, it was 4th down.
So what that happened? So then they could just hike it and kneel it and be done.
Snap it.
So
Snap it.
Snap it, hike
Yeah.
it, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know.
it's okay, but yeah, it's
I've been cooped up in the studio every Friday night. Haven't seen football.
congrats to Summertown. They needed that one.
No doubt. Home game.
Let's talk a little bit of Atlanta Braves when we come back, because some good things to talk about. We'll get there. Right back after this on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
When the Braves play, Chris and Mo are talking about it,
Yeah, that's trash can juice.
Speak for yourself.
for better or worse, on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Back to the Lee Company studio. Yep, they're fans too. Here's Chris and Mo.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao, Patton and JP Plant. Glad to have you with us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. At SM_TN Sports on Twitter. Give us a follow. Let us know you're out there. We'd love to chat with you and interact. Of course, those of you on Facebook as well, same. We want to interact with you, so please feel free to do so. Normally, in this segment, we would talk to either Joe Williams or Charles Pulliam, but Charles just got back in from Vegas, and he had just touched down in the land of the Delta. Oh, no, wait. I get so confused.
Yeah.
Speaking of karaoke, one of my go-tos there. It's always a crowd favorite. For a slow song, that's unusual, right? Yeah.
It's a pretty good one for karaoke, though.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Fan favorite.
Instead, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves. And we should start with the positive. The Atlanta Braves took 2 of 3 from the Houston Astros at home, which is all we asked them to do. I mean, that's the truth.
It really is. It is. When we left Houston, we said if we can get 2 of 3 at home, we'll be okay. And that's what we got.
That's what we asked for, but we got greedy.
We got greedy.
Because you won the first 2. Again,
exactly.
It's always different when you win the first of those. I mean, it's just like the Titans.
It's just like it's just like when we won game 1 in Houston.
It's like,
suddenly we wanted a sweep. Yeah.
Boy, if we would have got the sweep. Anyway. Positive, Ian Anderson just looked absolutely dominant. And I mean, 5 innings of no-hit baseball. Did you agree with taking him out? How did you feel about it?
I was pretty ambivalent. Fortunately, I was in the middle of a ball game, so I didn't really see it to react to it one way or the other. I mean, I don't think you can get too caught up in the opportunity to throw a no-hitter because, I mean, Ian Anderson wasn't going to go 9 innings.
That's correct.
So I don't know if it mattered if you took him out in the 5th, 6th, 7th. He wasn't going to go 9. So, you know, it wasn't that big a deal from that standpoint. You would love to have punctuated the win with the no-hitter, but you certainly would not have wanted to lose the game in pursuit of the no-hitter. So they got what they were going for. They won the ball game. Everything else is secondary.
I agree with that. My biggest concern was bringing in Minter because I knew we were going to need Minter on Sunday. And the response I got was, you got to win now. And I understand that. But there were better options than a guy that you could get 3 or 4 out of when all you needed was 1. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does make sense.
I didn't love the call to go to Minter there.
I didn't necessarily love Minter, but I did not have an issue with Anderson coming out. I would also not have had an issue with Anderson going another inning.
Even though it was 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I think clear. Here's the thing. I think we've gotten too caught up in bringing guys in at the top of the inning. And I guess the idea of bringing them in to a clean inning is topping everything else. I mean, run him out there, see what he's got. If he gets into trouble, get him out.
Analytics say 3rd time through you're going to struggle, right? That would have been the 3rd time through, and that's the reason that he came out. Had it been 8-9-1, he probably
Maybe
stays
he
in.
goes out.
He probably stays in for 1 more inning. I was okay with it. I felt like it was an okay call.
I didn't have a problem with it either way.
I just felt like Minter wasn't the guy. I thought there had to be somebody else. Much like I didn't understand what if we were going to throw Smiley in 7, 8, 9, why did we not throw Smiley in 3, 4, 5? That last night was an absolute boondoggle of a manager.
I think if you're going to throw Smiley, you have to throw him early enough that you have a chance to recover from whatever damage he's done.
Well, he didn't do any damage against L.A., and that's the thing. I feel like if you throw him out there in inning 2, 3, or 4, you get
a better Smiley.
Because he is a guy who trains like a starter, right? So the more he sits in that bullpen, the less effective he's going to be.
Well, you know, so much of how pitching is lined up, and I mean, I don't want to sound like the get off my lawn guy or anything like that, but I've said it on this show before. It's like we pitch to the bullpen.
Well,
and some of the analytics are stuff that I that never comes into consideration for me. I just don't think about it. I mean, if you're a starter, you go 5, 6, 7 innings, and then you fill in behind that. But this second time through the order, righty, lefty, righty, you know, all this other stuff seems a little extemporaneous to me. I mean, you train to get guys out, regardless of what side of the plate they're hitting from, regardless of when in the game it is. I don't
Our
know.
left-handers don't have a problem getting right-handers out at the bottom half of in the 7, 8, 9. Why? I don't know. I guess
I just feel like it's over managing.
I do feel like he overmanaged last night. I think there was a lot of overmanaging last night. I think there was no reason not to do the exact same thing you did in LA. Chavez, Smiley, Minter. Get through. I mean, those are three guys you feel pretty good about.
More often than not.
If you hadn't gone to Minter on Friday night,
You would have had him
he probably doesn't get tired
last night.
So once again, I go back to Friday. Why are you throwing AJ Minter? And my point on Friday was that we're going to need him Sunday. And exactly what I knew was going to happen on Sunday happened. Now, don't get me wrong. Do you know how many balls were hit harder than 92 miles per hour in yesterday's game for the Astros?
I do not.
0. 0 balls hit more than 92 miles an hour. Nothing but soft contact the entire game. And it felt like everything that could go their way offensively went the way of the Astros. They don't score the 9th run if not for replay screwing us over, but there's that.
They were due.
They were.
If you look at that.
Well, and the thing, what gets lost in all of this is Houston is a good ball club.
They are. With really good hitters. And the fact that they've only scored, 17 runs in 5 games? To me is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I thought when we hit the grand slam that one of two things was going to happen. Either we were going to take that momentum and just keep hitting, or it was going to be too early. They were going to chip away, and that's exactly what they did. They just chipped away. A run here, 2 runs there. Next thing you know, it's 4-4. And when Freddie hit the home run, I thought, okay, we should be good. And had we not used Minter on Friday, we probably would have been. But neither here nor there at this point. Because if Minter could have gotten you to the 7th, it's over.
So now you got to try to win 2 in Houston, one in Houston with Max Fried going tomorrow night and Ian Anderson in a game 7. And,
Now, they've got a guy going on a short rest.
I don't care about their guy. I mean,
I do, because our offense has not been great.
Yeah, well, but Max has not been great his last 2 starts.
Exactly.
So which Max are we going to get?
Well, and that's my point. My point is we need to score runs, because I don't trust that Max is going to be able to get it done against this offense that feasts on his strength. Their strength is his strength. So we can't rely on pitching, at least not till the 7th. How many innings do we have to get out of Max Fried tomorrow night?
It's a good question.
What is the bare minimum? 4?
I feel like 4. I mean, because if you get 4, then maybe you can get an inning out of Chavez or 2 innings out of Chavez, or maybe you run Dylan Lee back out there for an inning. I have to feel like Davidson is done. I thought he threw fairly well yesterday under the circumstances.
I did too. Again,
but somebody's got to bridge you from. You don't feel like realistically Fried is going to take you to the night shift.
No.
As they have taken to calling themselves. So, somebody's got to bridge that gap, whatever that is.
Jorge Soler has been an absolute diamond for this team in this series.
Well, and thank goodness he's been a diamond because the pearls have not come through.
They have not. And it's unfortunate. It is frustrating.
Overexposed.
Probably. I mean, what I can't understand for the life of me is why the Braves can't hit their bullpen no matter who it is coming out of it. None of them. I mean, we get their starter out again last night after, 2 1/3? He got into the third. And scored one more run.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. But d'Arnaud, despite striking out looking twice in the last 2 games, absolutely just mind-boggling how you look at strike 3 down Peachtree. But he's been really good overall. d'Arnaud has, Soler has, guys who haven't, Ozzie Albies. Dansby's error yesterday was brutal. I mean, it cost us 2 runs.
Mm-hmm. Ozzie looks tired.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that.
He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of energy. His bat looks slow. You know, he doesn't seem completely engaged. He looks tired. And you can thank the guy that plays to his left for that.
Yeah. Ozzie is, in the first game he had a couple of infield hits and flashed the leather in that first inning.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, he's just been out there.
Just there.
And, yeah, a little time off during the season probably wouldn't have hurt. Especially when you've got a guy like Adrianza who can play that position fairly well.
Isn't going to hurt you.
Not if you're an 88-game winner.
Huh. Right.
So, nonetheless, Braves are still in it. They got to win 2, or they got to win 1 out of 2. That's it. The Astros got to win 2 games. And the Braves have not lost back-to-back games since the middle of September. Before my birthday. The last time the Braves lost back-to-back. The other side of the top of the hour, we have Teresa Walker joining us. So stick around. We'll talk Titans on Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, Call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
From preps to pros and everything in between, it's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Live from the Lee Company studio, With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant. Mo, by Jason Foster, tweets that Major League Baseball still plans to play Game 6 of the World Series on Tuesday, despite much of Braves' Twitter having already given the Astros the championship. So, there's that.
Braves Twitter is nothing if not overreactive. But I mean,
they are overreaction Monday every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, man.
I mean, I think part of that is because you're so invested in it, man. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, every loss feels like the end of the world, and every win feels like
Despite the
you're on
fact
top of the world. Yeah.
Despite the fact that we just threw 2 bullpen games and won one of them. It is what it is.
Oh, wait a minute. You want objectivity too? Shoot.
What are we doing here?
Good luck.
I mean, the world is burning if you're a Braves fan. The world is also burning
If
if
you're a Titans fan.
But before we get to that and to our guest, you mentioned something earlier, Mo. Von Miller headed out of Denver. And
To the Rams. Who, oh, by the way.
yeah, who are about to take very good care of whatever running back decides to play.
I'm not so concerned about the running back at this point as I am about the quarterback.
Him too.
Who's been sacked 24 times already, and now he's getting ready to go up against Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Oh, yeah.
No, thank you. This is the time.
Tannehill's looking at Henry, and it's like, why did it have to be your foot? Why couldn't it be mine? Shoot.
Well, it's his neck, apparently, or whatever. Something's
Among
wrong
other
with
things,
him.
yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, Von Miller headed to the Rams, and we'll get to see him on Sunday night. It's Sunday Night Football, right?
Sunday night?
That's not good. Man. That's brutal. Anyway, the Tennessee Titans are without Derrick Henry for much of the remainder of the season. But the world is not ending. The sky is not falling. The Tennessee Titans will pretty much win the division so long as they show up the rest of the way.
They've got a 3-game lead in the AFC South. And they've swept Indianapolis following yesterday's overtime victory. So, the only way to not win the division,
It's to not win another game, just about.
basically,
They have to go 2-7. They'd have to go 2-7. And
Indianapolis would have to then go, what?
8-1,
8-1?
7-1.
I think it's 8-1.
And the Colts still left have the Jets, Jaguars, Texans, right? Oh, by the way, the Bills, the Bucks, the Patriots, the Raiders, and they get the and the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think they're going 8-1.
I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think they're going 7-2, but, you know, we could ask Teresa.
Let's do it. Joining us now is Simply the Best. Associated Press, Hall of Famer, covers everything in the entire state of Tennessee. If it's sports in Tennessee, she's covering it. It's Teresa Walker. Teresa, welcome in. Thanks for joining us on short notice.
Well, I like the music, so there you go. Nice intro. So, how can I not make some time for that?
Right.
We appreciate that. We know it's been a busy day for you, Teresa. Where would you like to start?
Well, I will say this. For the people who think that the season's over for the Titans, calm down. Walk back off the ledge. Get inside the house. Take a deep breath. Now, I've confirmed that they're, finalizing getting Adrian Peterson in here. He's 36, 225 days old. But he's definitely at this point a better option than Jeremy McNichol, who's great with screens. Mekhi Sargent, yes, we loved him in preseason. He's on the practice squad. They just brought in Dontrell Hilliard, who was returning kicks yesterday in Indianapolis. But, let's face it, that's a position that Darrington Evans went on IR for good. His second time, he can't come back on Friday. So, when you hear this news this morning, you're like, oh my God, who is going to carry the ball? Guess what? This is the NFL. You have a quarterback who threw for a career high 33 passes last year, right? He's got A.J. Brown, who, in case you missed it, he's finally gotten into gear these last 2 weeks. 155 yards yesterday on 10 catches. We saw them, trying to use A.J. in a different way, trying to let him throw a pass yesterday, and he smartly threw that away when the nickel, bit a little bit more than they were expecting him in that situation. So, they've got those guys. Yes, I'm completely with you. In fact, one of my chunks in my analysis today was that protecting Ryan Tannehill now becomes like saving Private Ryan. You have to keep him upright because he's what's going to make this team go from here. Now, you were mentioning that Colts schedule. I don't know if you mentioned they've got the Bucks too. So Bills, Bucks, Cardinals on Christmas Day. What a nice present that'll be, right? Patriots, Raiders. Right now, and I don't know the specifics because I haven't paid close attention to it, but I think that the Colts are going to be in fairly good position to repay a draft pick or something to the Eagles as part of their trade getting Carson Wentz. What matters
First round
for the
draft
Titans? Pick. Yeah. So what matters for the Titans now? We'll see. I'm seeing, lots of speculation on what the timeline is for Derrick Henry. I think it was Ian Rappaport, one of the national guys, saying 6 to 10 weeks. Mike Vrabel insisted he's not putting a timeline on it. And he's not done that for any guy who's been injured. So this isn't new, but, he understands, having been a 14-year player in the NFL, that, not everybody recovers the way docs say they should. Jeffrey Simmons, way ahead of schedule coming off his ACL. Bud Dupree, most likely way ahead. We also saw Taylor Lewan, maybe a little bit. Exactly, Chris. So, that's the situation that these guys, So, Derrick Henry has been an incredibly healthy guy, not just in his NFL career, but his life. So, your former intern broke a foot playing hockey in high school. He was in the boot 3 weeks and was running and playing hockey the week later, okay? Now, Derrick Henry is 27. He'll be 28 the first week of January. May not heal that fast. So, is it closer to 6 weeks? Is it closer to 10? What we know is the Titans have 9 games remaining, and they have a bye week. So they essentially have 10 weeks left in this regular season.
Just getting healthy for the playoffs.
Exactly. And, right now they've got the number 1 seed. And, in case we need a reminder, the number 1 seed is the only team that gets a bye on the AFC or the NFC side, right? So, and down the Titans schedule, yes, they're at Sunday night, they're at the Rams, 7-1 Rams, who just got Von Miller. And then you go, then they host the Saints, who Jameis Winston's out for the rest of the year. So they've got some issues
The rest of the year looks really promising for the Titans. It's not like it's, murderer's row like these last 3 weeks have been.
It's like we talked about again, and I keep coming back to it. We talked about this 4-game portion of this schedule. Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis there, Rams there. If you got through this 2-2, you felt really good about where you are.
We're 3-0.
They're 3-0. So, even
they're at worst it's 3-1, right? So
if anybody could deal with an injury of this degree, it's probably the Titans. The only thing is, how much does this impact this offense when they are so play action oriented with Henry at running back? I mean, I'm not sure that there's another running back that defenses have to honor in the play action game the way they do Derrick Henry.
Well, and we're going to see that. We're going to see just how defenses start reacting with no Derrick Henry back there. And the plan, in signing Adrian Peterson is, he's going to start on the practice squad and then they'll elevate him. But, how much are you going to get out of him? That's a big question. Okay, let's be honest. So, Todd Downing, Mike Vrabel, they're going to have, and Vrabel said it, they're going to have to be creative. And what we've seen out of Mike Vrabel in his tenure as a head coach is he can be very creative. Remember week 2 of his opening year, he didn't have a left tackle. The injuries were really just chewing up, the sides of his offensive line. and he had Derrick Henry, and I think Mariota was out of that game as well. So you had a backup quarterback, backup left tackle, and he went with the fake punt. Remember, that's the touchdown pass that Kevin Byard threw to, and it's not Byard. Oh my God, national people, can you not read the pronouncers?
They give you
Titans.
They give you a sheet.
pronouncer's list. Yes, this is not Phil Sims. This is not Byard. I mean, where? Oh my goodness. Anyway, but Kevin Byard threw the long, threugh the pass to Dane Cruikshank that he took to the house. That they unveiled the Wildcat in that game with Derrick Henry. So we've seen what we saw this last weekend. That they're unafraid to do some different things. You can call them trick plays or whatever, but usually it's because the coaches have seen something on tape that make them think that they can pull it off. So now they're going to maybe go into that bag of tricks a little bit more. And I mean, this is not this is not when like Marcus Mariota or Jake Locker, or any of those guys that we saw in at quarterback for most of the last decade. This is Ryan Tannehill, who has had production. He has a Pro Bowl receiver in A.J. Brown. Lurking, who's been dealing with a hamstring, 7-time Pro Bowler Julio Jones. These are the players who are going to have to step to the fore to help out.
Speaking of Pro Bowlers, Adrian Peterson and Mike Vrabel were both Pro Bowlers in 2007. I just want to put that out there.
You're just trying to make all of us feel old.
Yeah, Chris has a thing about making other people feel old. Yeah, so just
no, I'm just saying
it will come back on you, Chris.
Adrian Peterson is old in the world of the NFL, but you know what? I'll take him.
He is old in the world of the NFL. He's 36 years and what? 225?
225 days when I looked on Pro Football Reference earlier today.
My goodness.
That said, though,
I think he averaged. He played 16 games last year for the Detroit Lions, 10 starts, and he averaged 3.9 yards per carry.
You take that
every
you'll
day.
Take that, and run with it, because that can help you get some of your play action back into your playbook.
That's
right?
exactly what I was getting ready to ask you. Just from a physicality, from a running style, Adrian Peterson. Is there anybody closer to what Derrick Henry does than Adrian Peterson?
Probably not. I mean, I know in Indianapolis they'd like to say Jonathan Taylor's like that.
No.
Get back to me, young man.
No.
Let's see how he develops. But Derrick Henry is a tractor, right? He's a tank, whatever, whatever you want to compare him to. But, all day, Adrian Peterson, this is a guy who, he's put together quite a career himself. And, guess what? He's coming to a team that is going to have a clue on how to use him, because they know what they need to get out of him. They're not going to ask him to do what Derrick Henry was doing. Again,
by the way, Jonathan Taylor, 5'10", 226.
Yeah. See,
that's not
he's only
6'3",
missing
247.
5 inches. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the stats. Last year, Adrian Peterson, the 3.9 average. He ran for 604 yards. He had 156 carries, and probably he's very similar to Derrick Henry. But back in the day, he was, when he was MVP, he's one of those 8 guys that have carried for 2,000 yards. So think about this: Titans had Chris Johnson, the 2,000-yard guy, CJ 2K, Derrick Henry 2K, and now you get one of the other guys that have gotten 2,000 yards in a season to play for you.
Man, that's awesome. Teresa Walker with the nuggets of wisdom. We appreciate your time as always, T. Thank you so much.
Good deal. And guys, Titans fans, calm down. It'll be okay.
Down.
I thought she was going to go Aaron Rodgers on us there for a second.
I own you? Oh, no.
No, relax.
Oh. I was confused.
That might not be bad.
When we come back, we're going to talk college football. Plenty of it to get to, so stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today returns to the Lee Company studio after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Covering the teams you care about. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Once again, live from the Lee Company studio with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We are reacting to the world of sports from the weekend. Looking forward to getting into this next set of reactions. By the way, how'd you guys do in your pick'em?
I've not checked, but I don't think I did very well.
I'm glad you asked. Glad you asked, Chris.
Tell me.
7-3.
So get this.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 games that I picked the same as JP, All lost.
All lost. Those are the 3 that I lost.
The 3 you lost,
Mm-hmm.
I picked those same 3.
Did you pick those because of me?
No, you go last.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So how is it that every time I pick the same as you, I lose, and when I pick again different from you,
You lose.
I also lose? How? I went 2 and 8.
You know what that makes you?
A loser? Yeah. It makes me someone who
better than a
doesn't bet on
lollygagger.
college football. I do not bet on college football anymore. I can tell you that.
Nor should you.
Clearly.
For your daughter's sake. Nor should you.
Man.
That's awful.
And you know the scary thing is that I felt really bad about the Kentucky pick. I wasn't 100% sold on the Florida. I tried to get cute and think.
I did too.
Okay, this sets up to where Florida's going to, because it's happened a couple of times.
It has.
And Mo, God bless you, you were steadfast. You're like, listen, Georgia's the best team. Until they prove me otherwise, I'm picking with it. That's what I should have done.
Well,
So, and that's what I'll do.
That's why we didn't pick Wisconsin, because they've done nothing but burn us all year long.
Yeah.
And so what did they do but
Yeah.
burn us
Iowa too.
again?
I mean, now Iowa has burned us twice. Yeah. So it's insane.
It really is. College football is drunk. I mean, maybe it's just that I'm paying more attention to it this year than I have in a long time, but it seems particularly
No, it's on
out
a
of kilter
It's on a bender.
this year.
Yeah.
Miles Brennan is in the transfer portal out of LSU.
Isn't he hurt?
Yeah.
Isn't he the reason that they?
Yeah.
It's like it's
Buddy, where are you going to go?
it's like he lit the house on fire and then walked away from it.
And called the fire department, apparently.
Somebody's burning this house down. Y'all need to get over here.
Somebody. Have you seen that 911 call where the guy's like, someone shot my wife? It was definitely a third party who did it. No need to come in and investigate.
Wow. that was a real 911?
I don't know. I've heard it on TikTok a
okay.
few times, but it's just like, it's like, yes. Yes, it was definitely a third party. Certainly no need to come in and investigate.
Nothing to see here, officer. Move along.
Nothing to see here.
Oh, man. Nothing to see in at TCU, huh? As Gary Patterson
Wow.
and the Horned Frogs mutually agreed? Is that what we're calling
Is that what
it?
they're saying?
Well, that's what they're saying, but
It's never mutual.
that's what I've always said. It can't be mutual. Either somebody
know.
came and said,
Ed
I'm
Ogeron is
leaving.
about as mutual as it gets.
Either somebody came and said, I'm leaving, or somebody came and said, you're leaving, but it's never
Yeah.
mutual.
I think, let me just throw this out there, because this could be a potentially similar situation to Ed Ogeron, where you go and say, listen, Gary, we need to talk. All right.
I know what you want to talk about.
and Gary's like, you know what? I feel like maybe it's run its course here for me. I'm not getting any better. Maybe I'm stagnant. Maybe I need to change the scenery too. I understand. Let's go our separate ways, and we'll have, I want TCU to be successful in the future. I want to be successful in the future. Oh, by the way, there are 6 other jobs open that I am very qualified for, by the way.
There's that. Yeah.
And one of them ain't too far away, because Gary Patterson or James Franklin at LSU would be scary as hell. I'm talking. I would not want to see it. If I played in the SEC West, I would not want to see Gary Patterson at LSU. Just saying. So I can see where they may have had a similar situation.
and
where,
he just decided to expedite things.
sure.
Yeah.
Because what must be done eventually
Must be done immediately.
I used that quote on Jacksonville State's final score graphic on Facebook, and everyone loved it. So,
Well, as long as you gave Jeremy Foley credit for it, then that's all that matters.
all I'm saying is, I think this is a good thing for both of them.
Oh, sure.
I think.
Well, yeah, things do tend to run their course. over
They
time.
do. Well, and he's been there since what, 02?
Yeah, I mean, Gary Patterson is TCU football.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could not remember until someone pointed it out to me on Twitter last night whose place Gary Patterson took.
Yeah.
And you know.
I didn't know that either.
You saw it?
Well, I heard somewhere else, but I didn't realize who
Dennis
it was.
Francione.
Yeah, Franchione.
Kind of spearheaded
'Cause
that. And
when he
and
left to go
Gary
to
was
Alabama.
on Franchione's staff.
Yeah. It's an interesting situation that they're in, especially with the Big 12's kind of reimagining. So, I mean, it's kind of like a new start for folks, right? A lot of them, Tech's looking at it that way.
Yeah.
TCU now looking at it that way. It's kind of a fresh start. Let's just
It's a good place, I
start
think.
over. Why not?
I mean, you look at the facilities, and that have been built since he's been there.
Sure.
They've obviously got money. There's no
Well,
question.
it's
They're in oil
Texas.
country.
Everybody's
Yep,
got money.
That's right. And it's you're right in the heart of the best recruiting in the country.
You know why they all got money? Because 7,000 square foot houses are $200,000. They don't pay nothing for housing.
Unlike here.
Well, that's because they got so much land.
I know, but I'm just saying. Anyway.
You can spread out there.
By the way, I was
Yes.
3-7 finally.
3-7.
Oof. Man, we stink.
But I did get Michigan State, Georgia, and Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
I mean, this is.
We're all looking up at JP though.
Yeah,
and
who
he's
cares?
and he's loving looking down.
He's leaving.
at us. Yeah.
Yeah, he's leaving us. There weren't a whole lot of like big surprises outside of one game that we said was not going to be a surprise if Mississippi State won.
Mississippi State won.
Well, it was only 1.5 point spread. I mean,
Well,
based on that, but yeah.
I mean, but you could have
you're
gotten
correct.
either Mississippi. Which Mississippi State are you going to get? And
true.
they got Texas A&M, Mississippi State. Outside of that, I mean, nothing that really just jumped out at me and said, "Boy, this is shocking." I did pick Fresno State to win, and they did.
I did too.
So
Well, I tell you that Virginia BYU game,
Yeah.
at least the first
66
half,
points.
it was
What was
incredible.
it? 42.
It was
42-38.
42-38 at the
At
half.
the half.
And I was watching on the ESPN app or whatever. So at halftime, it goes to, it is halftime of your contest. And it just sits there. So I clicked off of it, came back to it 3 minutes into the third quarter, and BYU had scored again.
It picked up right where it left off.
Yeah.
Now it slowed down, but it was impressive.
Man. So what? Well, I guess Miami over Pitt.
Miami.
Some folks were talking about Pitt as being a potential college football playoff
Steeler.
stealer.
If you will.
Were.
Yeah.
Party crasher.
They're done now.
Were.
And
Although,
as we said, Matt Diaz he's coaching for his job every single week, and right now, it's working.
Manny Diaz,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Who is Matt Diaz?
former Braves
Braves. That's
outfielder.
it. I was-
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Different guy.
yeah, it's a back-to-back weeks for the Canes against ranked opponents.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like they finally got over getting broken by Alabama, and
It took half the season.
here they are.
It does.
Watch out. I don't know, man. This football season is drunk completely. Obviously,
Well, I mean, you don't have to look any further to see how drunk this college football season is than this week's number 10 is Wake Forest.
By the way, I heard a stat today. They were the last Power 5 team in college football to ever be ranked in the top 10.
Ever?
The last one.
So Vanderbilt's been ranked in the top
Vanderbilt
10?
has been ranked in the top 10 in the AP era. Yep.
well, the AP era started in the 30s, so Vanderbilt won a couple SEC titles back then, right?
Yeah, but they in the last 25 years, I think at one point they got to 9 when they were 6-0 one year and they hosted Auburn and game day was there.
Were they ranked that high? I covered them that year.
That had to have been, unless it was the 30s. I know they got into the teens and it may have been back then, but
Hang on a minute.
they got they were
That was in
6-0
08.
or 5-0.
5-0, I
5-0
believe.
heading into that game. Game day came to Nashville as they were playing Auburn.
They beat Auburn that night,
Yeah.
and they were number 19 going into that game. So I can't see them getting up into the top 10
Yeah.
from there.
So it may have been back
But,
in the 30s,
yeah.
but
yeah,
yeah, last Power 5 school
that's crazy.
to be ranked in the AP
So
top 10.
every other
Every other Power 5 school. Oregon State, of course, Kansas.
Kansas
Kansas
was number one.
State,
Kansas State. Oh, yeah, several times.
Kansas was number one in the BCS.
TCU,
in
Texas
08.
Tech. Wow. All the ACC schools.
That's pretty
Duke.
amazing.
Even Duke.
Yeah.
Man, that's something.
Well, good for Dave Clawson.
Yeah.
By the way, Miami football will receive a 20% reduction in communication devices it can use against Georgia Tech on Saturday.
20% reduction in
20%.
communication devices.
They violated NCAA football playing rule 1-4-12 relating to coaches' phones, headsets, and communications devices. It is unclear when the violations happened. So there's that. Schools are limited to 23 communication devices, which means they will be without 5-ish.
Roughly.
I don't know what that means.
Mow
but
that pesky rule 1-4-3
Gets you every time.
It will.
every single time, Mo.
every time. Never fails. I'm just, this is one of those these situations where college football this year, JP, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is just one of those years that's always going to be, we're going to look back at this and we're going to go, how in the world did anybody survive it?
Everybody survived because nobody survived.
I think that's kind of the key, right?
It's about where we are.
I think I read something over the weekend. 61 ranked teams
61
have
ranked
lost
teams.
games.
Yep, and close over 30 of those, over half, I think, to unranked, or close to half to unranked teams.
College football is drunk.
Well, I can tell you, we're going to talk quite a bit of SEC football on the other side because we have a ton of interesting scenarios playing out this week, including whatever Vanderbilt did. I don't know what they were thinking, but that being said, the SEC is now in a little bit of a bind with Ole Miss losing and with Auburn winning, and Georgia has now officially won the East, so they're just walking away with things. Kentucky was supposed to maybe backfill that. Is Tennessee going to beat Kentucky now? Did we think they weren't going to before? I don't know.
So you thought Tennessee was going to beat Kentucky all along?
I said that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you throw a lot of stuff against the wall to see what sticks. so, too.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, what I said was that this Tennessee offense can beat anybody. It's whether or not their defense shows up that makes the difference. And to be honest with you, I don't think Kentucky's offense can outscore them. So guess we'll find out. But we do have more to talk about because I really want to get into this Bo Nix thing. Bo Nix is magical because he has to be, apparently. So more SEC football, more college football. We got plenty of it to talk about on the other side of the break, so stick around. Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today will return to the Lee Company studio after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
Fast Stop Markets is a full-service, family-owned convenience store chain located in 14 locations throughout Middle and West Tennessee. For those in our listening area, you can find them in Columbia, Centerville, Lawrenceburg, Spring Hill, Dixon, and White Bluff.
Fast Stop partners with wholesale fuel brands like Shell, Marathon, and Exxon, delivering a consistent customer experience that is fast, friendly, and clean. If it's not already, it will soon become your go-to store to shop in town or on the road. Fast Stop Markets is proud to be keeping you moving in Tennessee.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ned Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
The sports talk show you've always wanted. It's Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. From preps to pros. Live from the Lee Company studio. With the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, here's Chris Yao.
Welcome back in Southern Middle Tennessee Sports Today. Presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Kind of getting caught up with college football from this weekend. We talked about Gary Patterson being out at TCU in the last segment. Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen has completely shuttered all media access all week. Mark Long, reporting for Associated Press, says that Dan Mullen's strange and subpar season took another twist Monday when the Florida coach canceled media access to players and coordinators for the remainder of the week after they got drubbed 34-7 by Georgia last week.
The program's 7th loss in its last 9 games against Power 5 opponents.
How about that stat?
That's unreal.
You almost buried the lead there.
Well, he's lost 7 of 9.
Mm-hmm.
Orgeron was what? What did we say? Like
13 and 5.
13 and 5 against top 10 teams, and he's gone, including Florida.
Well, Florida.
I don't know if they were top 10.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
but still.
Yeah.
I mean, this is getting scary for Dan Mullen, right? He's about to have to take part in the Nick Saban rehab program, ain't he?
It's become a sore subject for that's recruiting. Recruiting is the issue. It's become a sore subject for Mullen and a hot topic for Florida fans. Georgia has signed a higher-ranked class every year since 2014.
Well, we talked about this earlier in the season. Florida administration and Dan Mullen were not on good terms
From the start.
from the get. So what does this mean?
It means Mullen's agent better be getting on the horn trying to get one of
these seven jobs.
If I'm Mullen, I mean this will not end well.
No.
Because Kirby Smart's not going anywhere. I mean, so it's
Mark Stoops ain't going nowhere.
And Tennessee certainly looks like they are finally getting some. Which
But Georgia's the one that matters because that's
well,
the recruiting thing.
Well, yeah, Georgia's the one that matters.
That's
but
like Auburn trying to compete with Alabama at every turn, and coaches getting fired left and right because Nick Saban's there. Well, unless all indication is that this is the year Georgia gets it done.
if they don't this year, they never will.
If they don't,
I've said that.
And if they do this year,
Then what?
Then what does Florida do for real?
That's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean, because that's who they're up against. That's their rival.
Yep. Yep.
I
It's not enough. It's not enough that you've got Alabama in the conference, but now you've got Georgia in your division.
Everything is based and compared to what Georgia does.
For Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair or not, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way. I mean, Ed Orgeron got fired because he's not Nick Saban. Period.
Yeah. 13 and 5 against the top 10. Gone.
You won a national championship 2 years ago. Gone.
Well, it's the losses against teams that you have no business even carrying their water for.
Well,
That's part of it. It's not so much that you're not winning the national championships. It's not living up to expectations. And if you lose 2 or 3 to teams like a Mississippi State, or like a UCLA, it doesn't bode well. And
yeah,
I mean
that UCLA loss is looking worse and worse all the time. So,
I mean, I think it's about the expectation. You compete against Alabama, which they have. Compete against Texas A&M, and they've had the better edge on Florida for the most part. And of course, they play every year. But it's the other losses, I think, that ultimately did him. And, all these players that are not playing.
Well, he had some other issues too.
Yes.
And I think that played a part in it because they're like, dude, you're clearly not focused.
It doesn't help. If you're not winning and those things are happening.
Right. If you're not winning and those things are happening, then they all get
They've probably
bigger.
been happening the whole time.
Well, not all of them.
I mean, but, if they were happening when they're 13, 14, and 0 winning national championship, nobody cares.
Sort of like a certain program east of here. I mean, if you're winning and handing out McDonald's sacks or whatever, then it's not such a bad thing. But certainly, suddenly, when things become bad enough, then the folks handing out the McDonald's sacks for you turn on you.
Yeah.
The cost of red meat just went up.
Right.
Cost of burgers.
Big time.
Well, so let's ask this question then. Obviously Lane Kiffin, things were going great, and now Bo Magic and Auburn suddenly looking like a team that could make some noise. And Mo said that LSU was their pinnacle. It certainly appears that is not the case.
It certainly appears that is not the case.
And honestly,
yeah.
I was with you. I thought you were on it, but never count Bo Nix out, because as JP said, you got good Bo Nix this week. And you remember a certain former Giles County quarterback, good Bo and bad Bo.
Yeah.
I mean, when good Bo was on the field, they got a chance to beat anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. And they did. They took down number 10 Ole Miss, which Ole Miss, I think both Alabama and Tennessee showed that Ole Miss was beatable. Obviously, Alabama beat them, but they kind of put the blueprint out there. And if you've got the guys to do it, you too can beat Ole Miss.
Yep.
And Auburn has the guys. They've got a good program, and Brian Harsin is a really good football coach, and will continue to be the football coach at Auburn because the state of Alabama banned state employers from forcing vaccine mandates. So no looming deadline for Brian Harsin.
Apparently.
So he's going to continue being the coach at Auburn.
Well, guys, look at Auburn and what they've got. If they get past A&M this week, now
Which is an if.
That's a big if. A&M, they had those two games, Mississippi State and Arkansas, where they dropped out of the rankings. They're back to 13, by the way. And this game is at College Station Saturday afternoon on CBS. But if they get past that, they've got Mississippi State at home, at South Carolina. If they win all of those, guess what?
It's for the West.
Iron Bowl for the West again. So
First time that ever happened was what? Was it the
Kick six?
Cam year, or was it? It was kick six. It was kick six. That was for the West. It's the first time it had ever happened.
Isn't that crazy? In all the years that they've been, in all the times that there's been a division,
Yeah.
Auburn, Alabama had not been for the West until
16
yeah.
ish. One of the years that Alabama won a national championship. Because that was the year of the two miracles that they beat.
13.
Okay, so not the Cam year, but the Nick Marshall year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even still, yeah, Auburn is one of those teams that Alabama doesn't want to see.
that game, by
By
the
the way,
isn't Jordan Hare.
Auburn could lose to A&M and still
Be for the West.
be for the West, because they would give Alabama 2 losses. But then I guess it would be a 3-way tie.
Between
A&M.
Auburn, A&M, and Alabama.
And I don't know what happens then. I've never seen that happen before.
Whoever's highest ranked, I think.
Oh, well, then it's probably going to be Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Auburn loses to A&M, they're not going to be up there. Yeah, A&M is back to 13. What is Auburn? Are they 12?
Auburn is
12. Wow.
12th.
This game just became
Up
a
for
lot
18th.
of fun. And it's going to be a CBS game too, by the way. And
This Saturday?
this Saturday, it's Auburn A&M on CBS this Saturday. Next Saturday, do whatever you want to during that time slot, because Tennessee and Georgia are playing, and it's not going to be worth watching. So feel free to plan to cut your grass or something.
By the way, if you're interested, I have found the tiebreakers
Ooh,
in the SEC.
what is the tiebreaker?
According to Saturday Down South. Head-to-head winner, obviously, first.
Sure.
That goes. Records of the tied teams within the division. Okay?
That would still well, not within the division, because Auburn's other loss would be to Georgia. So Auburn would then win the division, right?
Based on this,
Holy cow!
if there's a 3-way tie, if
So
you
it's
get to that,
for the West again. Auburn can still lose to A&M or Mississippi State. They can't lose to South Carolina, or I guess they could lose to South Carolina because they're again in the East.
The third one, by the way, records against the team within the division with best overall conference record and proceeding through the division.
Gotcha.
Did you follow that?
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, Auburn, with any loss, because their other SEC loss would be from the East, they would win the West.
So you think of it like the NFL. Tiebreaker is obviously division, and then you go head to head, and then you go within conference.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what this is within division.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
That is something. What happens to Ole Miss now? I mean, they've only got 2 losses. This season is not over.
It's a great season for Ole Miss.
I mean, they can still win 10 ball games and probably go to the Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl, Citrus Bowl. Yeah.
What? And I guess my question is what does this mean for Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral? You know, Heisman considerations, etc. How big is this loss? Does the loss does it diminish in significance if Auburn continues to win?
Yeah, I think it does because I mean, it shows you that the loss wasn't to a bad Auburn team. So it kind of validates it a little bit more.
I think so too. How bad is that loss to Penn State looking now, though, for Auburn? Again, Penn State, they've lost 3 games, but 2 of them to very good teams.
It doesn't look as good as it could have.
Yeah.
As we thought Penn State, because in the beginning, Penn State was looking like they could easily compete for the Big Ten championship.
Well, talking about coaches that aren't focused. He's one of them. So tomorrow, the college football playoff rankings come out.
Yep.
We are going to talk about what we think it's going to look like, right? I mean, that's kind of the...
Well, there are 2 different ways to go. There's what we think it should be,
and then what
we think it will be. Which oftentimes are 2 different things.
Correct.
So I think whichever way we can go both, but I think it's fair to make the distinction of what we think it should be versus what it will be.
There's definitely going to be an entire segment on the top 4 tomorrow. 1,000%. Of course, we'll continue to talk again. We'll talk about the Braves tomorrow and get ready for Game 6 because, well, the Braves can still clinch. And the home team has not clinched a World Series since 2013.
We need that to continue.
Let's keep that streak going.
Yeah.
Since we didn't end it last night, keep it going tomorrow. Plenty more to get to. We will continue talking about the Titans and college football, the Braves, and more tomorrow. Come back, 4 o'clock right here. Twitter, YouTube, WKOM, WZYX, everywhere else. Appreciate you guys listening. For Mo Patton and JP Plant, I'm Chris Yowsing. Have a great day and stay cool, Columbia.